Hari Om. Suvarna Bhagini, would you like to chant?
ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे फुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयः प्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावः दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्सत्सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् भीष्मद्रोणतटा जयद्रथजला गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरमकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवै रणनदी कैवर्तकः केशवः पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलं गीतार्थगन्धोत्कटं नानाख्यानककेसरं हरिकथा सम्बोधनाबोधितं लोके सज्जन षट्पदैरहरः पेपीयमानं मुदा भूयाद्भारत पङ्कजं कलिमलप्रध्वंसिनः श्रेयसे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुल्लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यै योगिनः यस्यान्तन्न विदुः सुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। धन्यवादः भगिनी।
धन्यवादः। नारायणं पद्मभुवं वसिष्ठं शक्तिं च तत्पुत्रपराशरं च व्यासं शुकं गौडपदं महान्तं गोविन्दयोगीन्द्रमतास्य शिष्यं श्रीशङ्कराचार्यमतास्य पद्मपादं च हस्तामलकं च शिष्यं तं तोटकं वार्तिककारमन्यान् अस्मद्गुरून् सन्ततमानतोऽस्मि श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेद विभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ परं वरिष्ठं ब्रह्मिष्ठं परमानन्दरूपिणं परमार्थानन्दयतिं सद्गुरुं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्। I hope you're all able to hear me and see me. Okay. So today we are going to do a very, very important and very practical portion of the Gita. After answering Arjuna's question regarding Shraddha or faith, Lord Krishna himself had voluntarily introduced 4 topics, and they are Aharaha, Tapaha, Yajnaha and Dana. Of them, Krishna talked about 3 types of Ahara, Satvika, Rajasika and Tamasa Ahara. Then he talked about Yajna, Satvika, Rajasika and Tamasika. And now he is going to enter the 3rd one, namely Tapaha or austerity or discipline in general. So this table shows you the summary of what we've completed so far. So all these topics are extremely important for sincere spiritual students, because these are not meant for learning and understanding. The entire chapter is for learning and practicing. To the extent we are able to practice, faster will be our spiritual growth. And more than that, the spiritual knowledge also will have more effect when the knowledge goes along with these values. Here, somehow I feel that this is also the chapter in the learnings which causes maximum guilt in you, and your conscience keeps, coming in front of you and checking with you as to where you are. But as a Grihastha Ashrami person, we do have to face a lot of difficult situations on a day-to-day basis, and it is therefore not very easy to implement these. But there is no comparison here with X or Y or Z. As long as one feels that he or she is progressing on all these factors, I think we should be happy about it and see if we can do anything better to make our progress faster. So this entire chapter, basically 16th and 17th chapter, both are for learning and practicing. So with regard to aham brahmasmi jnanam, right? There is nothing to practice really. It is just knowing, right? Whereas these are actually meant for learning and also attempting to practice. So as far as tapas is concerned, Krishna wants to divide tapas from two different angles. One is from the standpoint of the instrument or karanam, right, or the limb through which we practice the tapas. And the second division, right, is based on the three gunas. So karana drishtya, limb is called, instrument is called karanam. Karana drishtya trivida tapaha, guna drishtya trivida tapaha, right? Three kinds. Karana drishtya, we divide it into kayikam, vachikam, and manasam. Physical discipline, speech discipline, and mental discipline. Of them, physical discipline is the grossest and relatively easier. Verbal or speech discipline is tougher, and mental discipline is the toughest one. We have to start with physical discipline and then graduate to verbal or oral, and then finally the toughest, which is mental one. Of this, Kaikam Tapaha is defined in the 14th verse, Vachikam in the 15th, and Manasam in the 16th one. Ever since I embarked on this journey, I have been observing people on these three aspects. And I would just like to add another note here that maybe it's because of Purva Janma Vasanas or the journey that we have embarked across several Janmas, that one can actually sense that they may have progressed in one or more of this automatically without doing anything much in this Janma. It's possible. There will be people who can be absolutely disciplined, right? We're going to talk about punctuality, time, and all of that, right? And there can be another person who's a brilliant listener, right? And who thinks before he speaks, right? He or she speaks. They do use all the filters that Lord Krishna is going to speak about. It's quite possible. So the only way, the takeaway from this is that for us to understand and relate that yes, this is a journey across multiple janmas, and it is quite possible that we've made progress in some other janma, and therefore we are bestowed with that particular extra blessing, which is actually helping us go forward in the spiritual journey faster as compared to several others who are not at all in control of some of these aspects. So once you actually imbibe this teaching, what happens is you tend to look up and observe others also around you. So let us start with the 14th verse, which is the Kaikam Tapaha. Very, very interesting and very practical set of shlokas here. Devadvijaguru Prajna Devadvijaguru Prajna Pujanam Shauchamarjavam Devadvijaguru Prajna Pujanam Shauchamarjavam Brahmacharyamahimsa cha Shariram Tapa Uchyate Shariram Tapa Uchyate. So in the Kaikam Tapaha, Krishna mentions in the 14th verse all forms of daily rituals that we practice, right, which involves physical discipline, right? And the worst obstacle to the body is alasyam, or the laziness, right? It's a domination of tamoguna. And the alasyam or laziness first becomes an obstacle when in the morning, when you want to get up. And thereafter to follow a routine or discipline every day, right? It becomes very, very difficult for a person with tamoguna, right? If tamoguna should be removed, and our Shastra has ways and means for doing each of these, right? One has to first have a clear and clean physical routine, right? Getting up early in the morning, at the time of sunrise or before. Like our tradition says, it's a very important aspect, getting up before sunrise. Suryodayascha astamayescha shayinam jahati lakshmi api chakradarinam. The one who does not follow certain disciplines, right? For instance, sleeping during Suryodaya, Surya Astamana, right? Is considered, both these are considered important principle, and this shloka says Lakshmi Devi will reside only in that house where these practices are maintained. Suppose Vishnu himself, Chakradarinam, Vishnu himself violates this, right? What will Lakshmi do? Jahati Lakshmi Devi api Chakradarinam. Lakshmi Devi will give up even Vishnu if he sleeps. The idea is these are very, very important disciplines which are prescribed in the Shastra. Morning getting up and preferably starting the day with Surya Namaskaraha, Snanam, Japa Dhyanam, etc. Preferably religious and spiritual disciplines so that the mind becomes Sattvika, and with a Sattvika and a strong mind, right, you get a lot of the strong mind. How does it come? It comes from the strength of the Ishvara Puja. Right? Because during the puja we pray to Lord, we say, oh Lord, give me the strength to confront the prarabdha today. I don't know what things I have to face, right? If you are there behind me, right, then it is very, I know that you are with me. In fact, there is a very beautiful shloka to Sri Rama, Agrita Prishtataschaiva Pashvatasya Mahabalo Akarna Purna Danmano Rakshetam Rama Lakshmano. Before I start out, head out on any important assignment, leave the house, I am praying to Rama to be there around me, left, right, front and behind, right, when I am starting or commencing something, right? These are all Ishvara pujas and shlokas which are built into our day-to-day lives, right? The Hindu way of life, right? So the most fundamental relationship in this world and a permanent relationship, nothing else is permanent. Permanent relationship is with the God, right? All other relationships are temporary or transient. Maximum it can last for one life, right? In the previous Janma, the current relationships were not there. Whether we were human beings, we don't know, right? So in the next Janma, whether these same relationships will continue, we don't know. The only permanent relationship is with Ishvara, and that is the strongest relationship, right? And the stablest relationship. So start the day invoking the Ishvara Sambandha. Even earlier I have said, if you are praying to Saguna Ishvara, you can say Pratasmarami Lalita. So many shlokas are there. If you want to invoke the Nirguna Brahman in you, right, your higher nature, you can start with Pratasmarami Kriti Samsurat Atma Tattvam in the morning, right? But we start the day with invoking either the Saguna Brahman or the Nirguna Brahman, Saguna Ishvara or Nirguna Brahman, right? So not only this will help in mental strengthening, right? When it is done with the physical activity, like going to the temple and doing pradakshina or Surya Namaskara, then physically also we are removing the tamoguna. Therefore, rituals are considered very, very important in our culture. So pujanam, right? Physical worship of Deva, Dvija, Guru and Prajna, right? Deva, Dvija, Guru and Prajna. And then Deva is, you know, God, Dvija, the Brahmana, the learned Brahmanas, right? Guru, the teachers, and Prajna, the wise people, elders in general. And then Shaucham, keeping the body, the dress, the surroundings, the house, etc., clean and orderly, right? So this is something that we need to follow, and it's difficult to follow, but I think as a Vedantin, we first need to keep our wardrobes, right, and our bookshelves minimalistic to whatever is required, and give away whatever is not required, right, and give it away to people who can use it when it can be used itself, right? Therefore, Shaucham, cleanliness and orderliness with regard to everything that I use, a place for everything in its place, right? Shaucham, physical Shaucham is Kaikam Tapaha, right? Because we're talking about the physical aspect, right? Then Arjavam. Arjavam means straightforwardness, which means physically implementing whatever plans we have mentally and whatever we promise, right? Verbally, if we have planned to go to a particular place today for some reason, and then you decide that you have to go, you must accomplish that. That is Arjavam. Some people don't have any plans for any day, right? But that is, as a Vedantin, even these aspects have been spoken about, right? And it is very important because what you decide in the mind, you must be able to implement, right? And that is Arjavam, right? So the plan and my action, when they coincide, it becomes Arjavam, right? And if I tell somebody, I'm coming today at 5 p.m. and if I'm getting stuck because of an unpredictable traffic jam or something, it is important to call that person minimum a minute before that, ideally even 5-10 minutes before, but worst situation at least a minute before, and say that I'm not coming there. All these come as part of Arjavam, right? Such a practical set of instructions that I think if we do not go through these chapters early on in life, we are missing the opportunity to implement these early in life. That is the sad part, right? So, in short, punctuality is considered a very, very important spiritual discipline, right? And the sad that in India we do have a problem of punctuality, time management, etc., right? So, Shastrams considers punctuality as Arjavam, right? And we saw in the 13th chapter some more gunas. We saw Amanitvam, Adambitvam, Ahimsa, Shanti, and Arjavam. Oneness or harmony of thought, word, and deed, right? And then Brahmacharyam. Brahmacharyam means not violating the sexual morality or morals, right? Brahmacharyam, chastity. It is considered extremely important, right? Ahimsa, Satyam, Asteyam, Brahmacharyam, and Aparigraham, right? So, 5 virtues Patanjali in Yoga Sutra considers as primary, right? Mahavratam, Ahimsa, Satyam, Asteyam, Brahmacharyam, Aparigraham. Aparigraham is not hoarding things, right? More than required. Right? Tomorrow I need, next year I need, etc. Right? And Brahmacharyam is considered an extremely important tapas, right? As per the ashrama, whether it is Brahmacharya ashrama, Vanaprastha ashrama, Sannyasa ashrama, right? A Grihastha ashrama person has to follow the Brahmacharya practice according to the prescribed rules of the Grihastha ashrama, right? So, Brahmacharyam is also a physical discipline, and finally, Ahimsa. Ahimsa is not physically hurting anyone, whether it is human beings or animals or even plants. All these physical disciplines come under Shariram Tapaha, physical, right? So now the next one is Vachikam Tapaha or speech discipline, right? Which is also considered extremely important, right? So, and in order to try and practice this, right, Swamiji recommends using the Sankalpa Shakti. That means you take a resolve that you will do certain things, right? You will do it this way, and I will not tell, today I will go to every appointment on time. You can take a resolve like that, right? Or every time I get angry, I will count 10, right? So the Sankalpa Shakti, using of Sankalpa Shakti is supposed to be very, very useful for implementing some of these disciplines. Continuing. Another extremely important verse. Anudvegakaram vakyam. Anudvegakaram vakyam. Satyam priyahitam chayat. Satyam priyahitam chayat. Swadhyayabhyasanam chaiva. Swadhyayabhyasanam chaiva. Vangmayam tapa uchyate. Vangmayam tapa uchyate. I generally speak about this verse in whenever I address management students also, because it is absolutely relevant in today's Twitter and Instagram and all of these. There are companies, in fact, there are companies that have had to shut down because of not following these rules. So extremely useful, right? It's better that we keep it in front of us and follow. There are people who lost their jobs. Even recently, I know of 2-3 cases which all hits the newspaper. Maybe when you understand the meaning and then read the news, you will be able to relate to this, right? So speech discipline is considered very, very important by all our rishis, acharyas, everybody, right? So Shankaracharya, in fact, in his Viveka Chudamani says, Yogasya Pratamam Dwaram. The first gateway for spiritual journey is Vang Nirodha, restraint of speech. Therefore, we consider this very important, and the discipline is at 2 levels. First at the level of quantity and next at the level of quality. I think if we are able to reduce the quantity itself, that's a major aspect as a first level, trial for a person who is in a profession and who's in family life, right? So when a person has got mental pressure, right, often the tendency is to release the pressure through the mouth, right? So they just keep talking and talking and talking, right? So Shastra says, first try to reduce the quantity of talking, because when I have the pressure to talk, look at this beautiful analysis that the Shastra has done. When I have the pressure to talk, the first problem is I impose my talk on the other person, which is a form of himsa, right? Talking to a person who is not interested in my talk is imposing myself on others, which is a form of himsa. And secondly, when I have too much pressure to talk, there can never be a dialogue with the other person. It'll always be a monologue only, right? I only want to talk. I don't want to listen. So what happens is reduction of quantity is the first step towards improving on listening also. So consciously trying to reduce the quantity, right? Listening is also extremely important, right? Now we have training sessions for listening, etc. Now I lose my capacity to listen when I have a pressure to talk. And not only that, right? If I don't listen, then I keep interrupting the other person, right? This is another problem. And today with this Duplay kind of system and this webinars and Zoom and all that, it becomes all the more difficult to understand when to pause, when to listen, when to speak, etc. Right? So in any conversation or group, you can see there are some people who will never allow the other person to speak. And unfortunately or fortunately, in these group discussions, when you appear for the MBA interviews, etc., that is also seen as one of the important aspects, how you are able to fight and put forth your ideas, right? So listening is also equally important, but here the importance is first to reduce the quantity of speaking, then improve the quality, right? So the problems of listening, etc., are because of the absence of verbal restraint. Therefore, Shastra says, first reduce the quantity of talk, right? For that, certain rules are prescribed. The first rule is avicharyam na vaktavyam, vaktavyam suvicharitam, kincha tatraiva vaktavyam, yatroktam safalam, right? Safalam bhave. So never talk impulsively. Vicharam vinana vaktavyam. Vaktavyam suvicharitam. Only after deliberating, we have to talk to the other person. Kincha tatraiva vaktavyam yatroktam safalam bhavet. Only talk in a place where my talking will communicate with the other person, right? So I can talk and communicate, especially only when the other person is interested in listening. Therefore, make sure whether the other person is interested and then talk. When it comes to suggestions, comments and advices, Shastram clearly says never give comments or suggestions or advice to everyone and anyone unless the other person is interested in my comments, suggestions, and advices. Manusmriti. Okay, I noted down the verse number to just let you know. 2:1:10. Na prishta kasyachit bruyana chanyayena prichyatah janannapi hi medavi jadavalloka achare. Even if you have got opinions and suggestions, never let it out unless the other person is interested. With regard to the people who are under our care, we have to naturally give comments and suggestions because we are their well-wishers. With regard to third party who are outside this periphery, never give comments and suggestions. So the second rule is avoid advices, right? We are all very good in giving advices. In fact, Swamiji keeps on saying, apparently, if he coughs once in class, there are at least 15 to 20 people who will give him medicines, whether he asks or not, right? So this is the problem when we do not even check with the other person whether they are in a frame of mind to receive our advice, do they need it, etc. Right? Nobody even checks. Even if you're a well-wisher, the other person has to be interested, right? So talk to a person who is interested, right, in listening. And generally, if you see after a certain age, even with children, nobody is interested in listening to us, right? So when our own children are not interested in listening, right, where is the question of other people actually listening? So we have to be extremely careful, in fact, with even adult children, right? Because it is not where they are not willing to receive, it is better not to unnecessarily advise, right? So we have to make sure first that we reduce the quantity, and once the quantity reduces and you wait for some time, you will feel there is nothing to speak after that, right? So in fact, there is a very famous quotation, right? Before you speak, you should remember the following: what to talk, when to talk, where to talk, whom to talk, how to talk, and how much to talk. So if we plan according to this, we will never open our mouth, right? So what to talk, when to talk, where to talk, whom to talk, how to talk, and how much to talk. These 6 conditions will ensure that our quantity of talking comes down, right? So this part you can actually try, it works. Okay, if you start taking your mobile and looking at the screen time and the amount of time that you've spent talking, you just check this and you consciously try and avoid unnecessary phone calls, etc. It will start. This is important for a person on a spiritual journey, right? You can see progress there, and once you see progress, then you feel happy about it and you can do something more, right, with it. So Krishna here is giving 4 filters before we speak. Shankaracharya writes in his Bhashyam, all the 4 conditions are compulsory for healthy speech, right? This is exactly like the quality control that happens in manufacturing industries before it leaves the unit. Even in software, it happens, right? So Krishna is giving 4 filters, right? The first condition is anudvegakaram vakyam. Make sure that the words don't hurt others. The first and the most important is avoidance of verbal himsa. That means I should be sensitive enough when I talk to a person or talk about a person. This is condition number 1, very important condition. Then satyam. Satyam is truthful, right? The words I speak and the thoughts that I entertain, right? They should not be contradictory. Otherwise, what's happening? I'm going to have a split personality, right? And this can cause a lot of internal stress, right? So the primary problem will become, I do not trust my own words. Therefore, Satyam is very, very important, right? So even in these days, we can try and follow Satyam to the maximum extent possible. And in case we are not able to avoid a lie, etc., there is a prayachitam for that also. And if you're conscious that you're telling a lie, and if you're doing that prayachittam, automatically the number of times that you do this for silly things, right? You have a book and somebody asks for that book, you don't want to give it, right? Instead of saying, whatever, I don't want to give it for the following reasons. If you say, I don't have the book, right? That is an unnecessary lie, right? So making ourselves sensitive to such occasions itself is a first step. And when you do prayachittam in the form of 108 Namah Shivayas or Gayatri or Om Namo Narayanaya, then your mind starts getting sensitized, right? So the gradual reduction of untruth is very, very important, right? This is the second condition. The third one is Priyam, means the mode of talking is gentle and polite and soft, avoiding aggressiveness, avoiding rudeness, etc. Gentle words, appropriate words, right? Mode is Priyam, right? So the other person must be comfortable with the topic that you want to talk. Otherwise, you will not talk, right? So there may be a person who does not want to talk about his private life, his family, etc. But you see often some gatherings, etc. These days, especially daughters, sons, they get married at a very late age, and there's still this taboo, and at least in India, the force, the pressure on the parents is quite high for them to get their children married. So Swamiji uses this as an example. He says, please don't ask people what is happening, because apparently a few people feel so bad that they don't even go out, they don't meet people, etc. Right? So Priyam aspect is, let us try and speak only things that are pleasing to the other person and who wants to talk or engage with you on that subject, right? So now it's a very difficult combination to have Satyam and Priyam. Just because there is a truth, if it is not Priyam, then Shankaracharya strongly advises against speaking itself in the first place. He is not saying tell a lie, he says just don't speak, right? So that's also a form of himsa only, right? So discussing an uncomfortable topic is apriyam, and that is also a form of himsa only, right? Therefore, I should generally talk some general topic, right? And don't get into family life, children, etc. There may be other profession also today, lot of tension is there, etc. Right? Pick something general and just continue to speak, right? So if I watch the body language and the facial expression of the other person, and I find that it is going the apriyam direction, then you avoid the apriyam topic. Always talk what is priyam, where the other person likes to talk about that subject, only that, right? So that's the third condition. The fourth one is hitam. Hitam means when I am talking, I should see whether it is beneficial to the other person, right? It should be beneficial to both. I may be enjoying Vedanta very much. This is one problem that several Vedanta students have, right? So for this, he gives Swamiji gives a very nice tip. He says, try speaking about Vedanta, nothing wrong, because we are going to see another tapaha where we are going to say you have to share the knowledge, right? But within a minute, be sensitive. If you feel that the other person is just completely tuning off, then don't speak about it, right? Because that is also a form of himsa only, right? So now, just because we want to share Vedanta, we cannot share with everybody, right? Only if they are interested, you can try, and if they're not interested, we can back off, right? So therefore, talk something that is hitam, that is mutually beneficial, and more so it should be beneficial to the other person, right? So another example also which he gave, and I think it's worth remembering this. Suppose somebody comes and says that I'm, say, going to Kailash Mansarovar, or I'm going to Kedarnath with this particular travel agent, etc. tomorrow. Now, you might have gone to Kailash Mansarovar, or you might have gone to Kedarnath last month and come back, and you might have had a great experience, and you might have also known something. But this person is embarking on the trip tomorrow. What is the point in asking this person, how much have you paid? I paid so much lesser than you, right? And this was the travel agent that I used. You should have asked me. I would have told you. It's not necessary. At that stage, this is the example Swamiji gives, so that we understand better. He says, just wish them best wishes and back off, right? Don't get into this discussion about, a better travel agent, etc. This is just an example. Many such situations, if we start sensitizing our mind, we start noticing and observing these, right? So thus, anudvegakaram, not non-hurtful, satyam, truthful, priyam, which is pleasant, right? And hitam, which is good for the other person, right? So Krishna says that this is very important, these four, and tad vangmayam tapaha uchyate. So he refers to these as the vangmayam, and he has also added one more, swadhyaya abhyasanam, one of the unique religious disciplines in our religion, that is Parayanam of the scriptures. Parayanam means recitation. Recitation of Gita, Veda Parayanam, Sahasranama Parayanam. 5 items are given as compulsory for every Hindu every day. Swashakopanishad. Basically, if you are an Yajurvedi, then you will do the Yajurveda Upanishad. Gite, Vishnor Nama Sahasrakam, Rudram Purusha Suktam cha, Nityam Avartaye, Grihit Swash. So basically, Upanishad, Gita, Vishnu Sahasranamam, Rudram Purusha Suktam. Nityam, please tell, right? One Upanishad belonging to one's own Veda, right? So, Upanishad, Parayanam, etc. Even if you don't know Veda mantras, any other sacred scriptures, you can even say Aditya Hridayam or any of these. This is also a very, very important discipline, right? Recitation of the scriptures is considered a beautiful discipline. Therefore, Swadhyaya Abhyasanam, regular recitation of scriptures in any language, right? They all come under Vangmaya Tapaha, right? So, Swamiji uses an acronym for this, NTUC, non-hurtful, truthful, useful, and cheerful, right? NTUC, non-hurtful, truthful, useful, and cheerful, right? So, in fact, very interestingly, Bhartrhari writes in Vairagya Shatakam, right? I have the shloka in the next slide. आयुर्वश शतं ऋणं परिमितं रात्रौ तर्तगतं तस्यार्गस्य परस्य चार्दमपरं बालत्ववृत्तत्वयोः शेषं व्याधिदुःखसहितं सेवाविधिर्नीयते जीवे वारि तरङ्गपङ्गचपले सौख्यं कुतः प्राणिनाम्. Bhartrhari says in Vairagya Shatakam, in the entire life period of assuming 100 years, 50 years are gone in sleeping or sleepy condition. Another 50 years, balatvam, right? Too young or too old, vriddhatvam, right? And then we have got 25 years, and where vyadi, yoga, dukkha, sahitam, we've got, after all this, we have very less of precious time that is left behind, right? So during that time, let us make sure that there is vak tapas, right? So the verse is here in case you want. Ayurvashashatam rinam parimitam ratrau tadardam gatam tasyardasya parasya chardam aparam balatva vriddhatvayoho shesham vyadi viyoga dukkha sahitam sevadibirniyate जीवे वारि तरंग chanchalatare saukyam kutah praninam, right? So very nice verse from Bhartrhari. Continuing, mana prasada saumyatvam maunamatma vinigrahah bhava samshuddhirityetat tapomanasa muchyate. Manaprasadaha, trying to maintain the calmness or equanimity of mind as much as possible. The word prasadaha means tranquility, right? Basically, in the temples also, when they give you prasadam and you eat, you feel pleased. That is why it is also called prasadaha. The secondary meaning is the prasada coming from the Lord. But the primary meaning of the word prasada is tranquility of the mind, right? It comes from the dhatu, sad, prasidati, right? So prasadaha comes from prasidati, means to be tranquil, which is the toughest task because every experience that comes will make our mind turbulent, going up and down. Because we've got a clear idea in our mind as to what should happen, what all should not happen. Based on our raga and dvesha, we have norms, right? And because of this norm, when we apply the norm, we have problems, right? The law of karma is functioning and Bhagavan is implementing the law of karma, right? So, and we have our own expectations also. And if we are not mentally prepared, then the turbulence starts happening, right? Therefore, the only way to avoid mental turbulence is remembering the teaching of the third chapter, right? I have got only the power to contribute. I have no power to control anything. I am a contributor. Karmani eva adhikaraha asti, karma phale adhikaraha nasti. Things need not happen according to my expectations. Once I know that it is going to happen, it may go against or it may be as per that, I'm able to accept the life much better, right? So Vedanta talks about a emotional insurance or mental insurance, right? So Karma Yoga helps me get prepared for that, right? So I am willing to go through any ups and downs in life, right? So in Mukunda Mala, again, the shloka is also there in the next slide, right? Nastha dharmena vasuniche naiva kamopabhoge yadyad bhavyam bhavatu bhagavan purva karma anurupam. Yadyad bhavyam bhavatu bhagavan purva karma anurupam. I have expressed my preference in my application to God and in my prayer. But I clearly tell you, O Lord, according to the law of karma, whatever I deserve, let it come. I'm willing to go through with it, right? My only request is to give me inner strength to go through the experience and learn from the experience. If I have got this prayer, right, in my mind in the early morning, then I'm ready to face anything according to the law of karma. I'm confident because Bhagavan is with me. I'm asking Bhagavan to give me the inner strength to face these situations. Thus, we have the backup of Bhagavan and we are ready to face, right? So, day by day, I am ready to face this. So, this prayerful attitude we saw at length in the introduction to Vedanta, in second chapter, in third chapter, Ishvara Arpana Bhavana and Ishvara Prasada Bhavana. The mind is ready to face even difficult situations, and because of that mental shock absorber, right, the disturbance is highly diluted, right? So even when a bad news comes, within a minute, I'm able to move from what to so what, right? So matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkata agama payino nityaha Tanstitikshvasva Bharata. In chapter 2, we saw 14th verse, right? This will also pass and I will see better days. So this is called maintenance of samatvam. Nityamscha samachitvam ishta upapattishu. So in 13th chapter also Krishna talked about manaprasadaha. Then saumyatvam. Let your thoughts be always gentle. Avoid aggressive thoughts. Avoid violent thoughts, right? Thoughts which lead to violent, aggressive words and deeds, because these words and deeds, right, when first they originate in the mind in the form of thoughts, thought becomes word, word alone gets converted to action, right? So let the thought be generally gentle, right? So always first we should try samadhana beda. We don't use the violent methods first, right? So gentleness is very, very important. Right? So Krishna is here prescribing it is actually a thought related control. Saumyatvam and Maunam. Maunam is avoiding of the mental chattering, the reduction of the mental chattering is called mental Maunam. Verbal Maunam is relatively easier. I was telling you last week that you could all try during Shivaratri. Very interesting experience, right? For many, even verbal Maunam is difficult, right? So the acharyas and in the ashramas go through training for Maunam also. Very often they do that, right? Very interesting. Initially, when you get into this verbal Maunam, you will see the mind chattering a lot, right? Because when you're trying to talk and that door is closed, right? So you see all the thoughts jamming in your mind, right? So therefore, the verbal Maunam has to go with the mental Maunam also, right? Which requires a lot of thought discipline, right? So it's also important in parallel to develop an attitude of agate swagatam kuryat. Basically, any experience that comes, like the people, who stand in this marriage hall at the front, and whether they know the person or not, they'll say, Vango, Vango, come inside, right? So similarly, we are okay to get anything in, right? And how we respond to it is what we control. Experiences continuously come, right? Even though the Ragadvesha riddled mind refuses to accept many of them, right? Or some of them, learning to practice a cheerful face, right? First, just faking it is also fine, he says, Swamiji. The more I learn to, smile, right? And then it becomes a habit, right? And take everything as coming from Ishvara, and then I start accepting the situation as Ishvara Prasada. So, Sukha Dukkhe Same Kritva Labha Labho Jaya Jayo, right? We saw that. The entire Karma Yoga is the means for maintaining Prasadaha, right? So, Saumyatvam means gentleness of thoughts, let it be there. The more aggressive the thoughts, the more aggressive the words will be, and then the more aggressive the actions will be. So all aggressions start in the mind, basically, right? So Maunam means restraining over chattering of the mind, right? So when the chattering increases in the mind, a very useful tip is replace those thoughts with Nama Japa. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, or Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namo Narayanaya, right? So when I'm constructively planning something, fine. But when it is meaninglessly chattering away, right? Replacing it with mental Nama Japa is very, very useful, right? So Shankaracharya here gives another meaning for Maunam also, right? So he says the mental skill to restrain the tongue, right, is called verbal Maunam. And he says all other Indriya, right, controlling, so that the mind is controlled, right? That is Atma Vinigraha. So therefore Krishna says Atma Vinigraha, restraining the involuntary thoughts in the mind, right, as it is happening. Watching those thoughts, watching the quality of those thoughts and regulating them, right? When they are disturbing thoughts or harmful thoughts, replacing them immediately, right? In fact, there is a talk that Swamiji gave in one of the New Years called Thought Displacement Skill, TDS. TDS is TDS. He said that. Basically, it is very difficult to displace these kind of violent thoughts or unwanted thoughts immediately with something else, right? So, Ashtanga Yoga is also directed towards Chitta Vriddhi Nirodha, right? So, we can use any of those, breath control techniques, etc., to control and replace the thoughts, right? So, it's a wonderful hobby and which we can follow lifelong. Kaika Vachika Manasa Tapaha. It's a lifelong interesting pursuit, and even 1% success will bring out a very great progress in our spiritual life, right? So, extremely important portion of the Gita this is, right? Very, very important. When the mind goes through jealousy, anxiety, any of them, those thoughts, nip them in the bud itself, right? As a beautiful shloka says, Vanani dahato vannehe sakha bhavati marutaha saeva deepanashaya krishekasyasti saukrudam. The air that blows off a small lamp, right, becomes the friend of a jungle fire, right? So when there is a flame, wind can put out the flame. When the very flame, same flame has become a forest fire, the wind will not put out the wind and it will start encouraging, right? So similarly, all these disturbances, when it is one thought, we can remove. When it has become an overwhelming emotion that I cannot sleep in the night, right? Then that becomes a big problem. So Atma Vinigraha means nipping the negative thoughts in the bud itself, right? Purity of thoughts. We've got beautiful prayers, and whenever the mind is free, we can chant Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet, right? So we can any of these shlokas, Durjanaha Sajjano Bhuyat, right? Sajjanaha Shanti Ma Kuryat, Shanto Ucheta Bandebhyaha Muktascha Anyan Vimochayet. Always goodwill for the world, right? And don't allow ill will to progress, right? So such a person is called Sukruto Shobhanam Hridayam Yasya, the one who enjoys a beautiful mind, right? And all of these are called Manasam Tapaha. And this is worth practicing lifelong, as I said. So with these three types of tapas, from the standpoint of the Karana or the instrument, right? There is a word Trikarana Shuddhi. Karana means instrument, right? So this is the threefold discipline. And now we have to see the standpoint of the Guna based, right? So this is the Mukunda Mala Stotra. You can note down and say if you want every day. Shraddaya paraya taptam, Shraddaya paraya taptam, tapastatrividam naraihi, tapastatrividam naraihi, afalakankshibhir yuktaihi, afalakankshibhir yuktaihi, satvikam parichakshate, satvikam parichakshate. These threefold tapas mentioned before, Kaika, Vachika and Prasada tapa, Vachika Manasa tapaha, they are given as regular duties in our scriptures. Therefore, they come under Vihita Karmani or compulsory duties, not optional, right? So they can produce Punyam also, just as Sandhya Vandanam or Pancha Mahayajna can produce Punyam, Vak Tapaha can produce Punyam, right? Now, we can use that punyam for encashing for materialistic purposes, for the betterment of the ahankara or the mamakara, or for jnana yogyata prapti, or for aham brahmasmi jnanam, receiving the jnanam, or for a guru prapti, etc. Right? So, as Shankaracharya puts it in Viveka Chudamani, Durlabam trayameva itat devanugraha hetukam Manushyatvam, Mumukshitvam, Mahapurusa Samshayaha. These three are very hard to come by, and it comes only with God's grace. The human birth, the desire for liberation, and the company of learned or noble person or a guru. Right? So, for many people, they might have opportunity, but they are not able to make use of the opportunity. There can be several obstacles. Therefore, opportunity to study the scripture itself requires punyam. And at this time, some obstacle may come, some family duty can come, and I won't be able to come to class. Therefore, spiritual punyam gives me opportunity for jnana yoga, gives me desire for jnana yoga, and gives me the capacity to receive the teaching, right? So that it can get absorbed in the mind, right? So now Krishna says, Trividam tapaha can be practiced for worldly benefit. Then it is called Sakama tapaha. These three tapas can be practiced for spiritual benefit. Then it is called Nishkama tapaha. Right? So, therefore, here Krishna says, Trividam tapaha naraihi taptam. Suppose these threefold disciplines are practiced by the seekers. Shraddaya paraya taptam. First condition, they practice with proper discipline, right? They are going to definitely get the benefit. So Shraddha, faith is very, very important, right? So the difference is when you are practicing here, you may not see tangible benefits. So you should have Shraddha saying that it is going to do good for me, right? Therefore, with this faith in the benefit of the tapaha, aphala kangshibihi, the punyam, can also be encanched for me and my family. It can be done. Ahankara, mamakara centered prayer you can have, right? So, or you can say sarve bhavantu sukhinaha, etc., which is nishkama tapaha. Therefore, Krishna says aphala kangshibihi, without sakama intention, as a jignasu bhakta, not artha bhakta, not artharthi bhakta, but jignasu bhakta. If you remember, and yuktaihi means with sincerity, right? You follow, right? That is satvikam tapaha, right? And spiritual growth will be so fast that Jivan Mukti itself can be attained in this very Janma. On the other hand, what is Rajasam tapaha? Satkaramana pujartam, Satkaramana pujartam, तपोदम्भेन चैव यत् तपोदम्भेन चैव यत् क्रियते तदिह प्रोक्तं राजसं चलमध्रुवम्. And the very same tapas is practiced for worldly benefit, sakama tapaha, for getting, say, name and fame, for getting praises, stotram, etc. Right? I am this person. He is great. The name, he wants a name. Manaha means here honor from others. Right? So when that person goes to a function, immediately organizers will go and say vango and make that person sit in the first row, and then put a reserved board, etc. And this person will come in late also, right? Satkara mana, honor or puja for that, or for stuti or for praise. Dambena, with a lot of pomp and show and publicity when it is done, it is called Rajasam tapaha. Right? When a puja is done for worldly benefit, whether the puja is successful or not, Shastra cannot definitely guarantee that, because the yajamana has to do nitya naimittika karma before even embarking on any of these, right? So if he does not do, then this result will also not come, right? So, and for nishkama karma, chitta shuddhi is the result, mental refinement. But for sakama karma, if it is defective, you may not get the result also, right? Chalam adruvam means the result is indefinite, not guaranteed. Even if the worldly result comes, it is not going to be permanent also. Whereas Chitta Shuddhi gained is permanent, right? So therefore, indefinite and temporary is the result of Rajasam Tapaha. Whereas definitive and permanent is the result of Satvikam Tapaha. Continuing. मूढग्राहेणात्मनो यत् पीडया क्रियते तपः परस्योत्सादनार्थं वा तत्तामसमुदाहृतम्. So the definition of the three types of tapas very similar, right? And we saw that in 11, 12 and 13. This is also very similar. Mudagrahena. Mudagraha means unhealthy or harmful resolve. Taking a vow to destroy a competitor, obstructing others. Unhealthy or foolish resolve is Mudagrahena. In Mahabharata, we find many people who take such resolves, right? Atmana Pideya. Tapas is often done by torturing oneself physically. All the Rakshasas perform such tapas. We saw that. Karshayantaha Sharirastha Bhutagramam Achetasaha. The same idea is coming here. Atma means Shariram. Atmanaha Pidaya Kriyate Tapaha. Right? So through Sharira Pida, through black magic, through destroying other people, etc., they are all tamasam udakritam. Even though a person may get temporary joy by pulling down other people, etc., it is a papa karma. special narakas are reserved for these people. In our Shastra also, during Avani Avatam, all of these are narrated, right? So, from the standpoint of guna also, we have seen 3 types of guna resulting in 3 types of tapaha. Previously, we saw karana drishtya. Now, this is guna drishtya, right? So, that austerity which is practiced by the torture of the body and an erroneous notion or for the destruction of the others is said to be tamasic, right? So, we are going to see the other, some more portions in the coming shlokas. So this is a summary of the tapas. I'll stop with this. We have 9 combinations basically. Satvika, Rajasika and Tamasika with the 3 different kinds of Kayikam, Vachikam and Manasam. Right? Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Are there any questions? I know I went a little 1 minute more, but that's because I had to complete this topic. Are there any questions? Yes, Mohana Bhagni. You're self-muted.
I'm so sorry. Today you hit the nail on the head, you know, when you said about this pressure of children not marriage and how people pressurizes. This is something I have to tell you, but my daughters chose not to get married, okay? But my family used to pressurize me so much, my older brother's family, that every minute they used to taunt me. So I stopped talking to them for 10 years because I said, if she gets married, you will be the first person to be told. And I stopped going to weddings because of this. Because everybody will say, நீங்க என்ன இப்படி இருக்க, கொஞ்சம் பார்த்து பண்ணலாம் இல்ல, நீங்களே பண்ணுவீங்களே அப்படிம்பா. So it was so much, I'm telling you, the pressure, that it destroyed my peace of mind. And I stopped talking to him for 10 years. He died recently of COVID. So I talked. Otherwise, you know, the pressure, I'm telling you, the society puts so much pressure on us. What can we do? But then today, when you said it, so I know that it exists everywhere.
No, obviously Swamiji is coming across this conversation, right? That is why he is, you know, making it a point to explain this, and so that at least people who go through the Gita class will, you know, try and refine or at least be aware. The first step is being aware and sensitizing our own mind. That is all. You know, that's a big step.
You know, that's what I was telling them. If as a parent, if I could do something, I would buy her 7 husbands, 1 for every day. You know, if it is in my capacity, if it's something that can be bought, not 1, I'll buy 7, I told them. You know, because I'm so frustrated with this. It cannot be bought, or I cannot do anything. No, as a parent, we try.
Anybody else has any other viewpoints, any other questions? This particular portion is extremely useful, so if you could revise it whenever, you know, you feel like it, it's extremely useful, and it's a ready reckoner for life. And as I said, we all are in different phases of this journey. So this is one thing that I am telling because Swamiji doesn't speak about this. As a Grihastha-ashrami person, you are ridden with guilt on some days or most days. Always think about where you were and how much you have progressed, and just continue to move on in the spiritual journey. Is it's a personal learning that I have had. Anybody else? Anything else? Otherwise, we can. I think there are no other questions. Hari Om. So next week we will meet. Dhanyavada.